Hi students, welcome back to my channel. I'm Cristina, and in today's video, we're going to be talking all about the past continuous. We're going to take a look at when we use the past continuous, how we form the past continuous, how to form the negative, and finally, how to make questions. Why don't we begin? Now, why don't we begin by discussing when we use the past continuous? We use it when we talk about a continuous action happening at a specific time in the past. Let's take a look at some examples. I was working from home all day yesterday. They were rehearsing for the show from 7 in the morning till 8 in the evening. Now, we also use the past continuous when we talk about simultaneous continuous actions in the past. For example, I was working while he was making dinner. So those are two actions that are happening at the same time continuously. Another example would be, were you taking notes while the teacher was talking? And we can also use it when we talk about a continuous action interrupted by a completed action in the past. So the continuous action would be in the past continuous, and the action that's interrupting that continuous action would be in the past simple. Let's take a look at some examples. I was watching TV when my mom called. Or, what were you doing when you twisted your ankle? So as you can see, in both of those examples, you have a continuous action in the past that was interrupted by a completed action in the past as well. So if we look at the first example, I was watching TV when my mom called. I was continuously watching TV in the past, and then that action was interrupted by a completed action, which was when my mom called. And that's why called would be in the past simple, and was watching would be in the past continuous. We can also use the past continuous when we describe the background in the story written in the past tense. That's why the past continuous is also known as a narrative tense. It's used very often when we tell stories, especially a story written in the past tense. Why don't we take a look at some examples? The sun was shining and the birds were singing as the girl skipped down the street on her way to school. So as you can see, what I'm describing here in the story, the background, what was happening while the girl was skipping down the street, would be in the past continuous, which is the sun was shining and the birds were singing. And finally, we use the past continuous when we want to express that something that happened often in the past is annoying or shocking. And we would use words like constantly or always when we form these kinds of sentences. Let's take a look at some examples. He was constantly chewing with his mouth open. It was so annoying. Sandy was always complaining. No wonder they broke up. Now remember, we don't normally use the past continuous with stative verbs. And if you remember from my video on the present continuous, stative verbs describe states and action or dynamic verbs describe actions. Okay, so instead of using the past continuous with a stative verb, you could use the past simple. Let's take a look at some examples. When I finished gardening, I was really needing a shower. When I finished gardening, I really needed a shower. Ding ding. Now, stative verbs typically relate to things like feelings and emotions, thoughts and opinions, the senses, possession. And if you would like to see which of those verbs or which stative verbs fall under those categories, make sure you take a look at my video on the present continuous, where I give you all the different verbs that would fall under each category that would never be used in any continuous tense. Now, how do we form the past continuous? Well, we would take the past tense of the verb to be, was or were, plus the base of the verb, with the ing ending. For example, I was watching TV. You were watching TV. He, she, it was watching TV. We were watching TV. You were watching TV. They were watching TV. And to form the negative, you would take the subject plus was or were plus not plus the base of the verb with the ing ending. For example, I was not playing. I wasn't playing. You were not playing. You weren't playing. He, she, it was not playing. He, she, it wasn't playing. We were not playing. We weren't playing. You were not playing. You weren't playing. And finally, they were not playing. They weren't playing. And finally, to form a yes or no question, we would take was or were plus the subject plus the base of the verb with the ing ending. For example, was I sleeping? And here you could give a short answer like yes, I was. No, I wasn't. Were you sleeping? Was he, she, it sleeping? Were we sleeping? Were you sleeping? Were they sleeping? And finally, to make a WH question in the past continuous, you would take the WH word plus was or were plus the subject plus the base verb with the ing ending. For example, why was I dancing? Where were you living? How was he, she, it feeling? What were we singing? Why were you working? And what were they ordering? And finally, if you would like to see some spelling rules when it comes to forming the continuous tenses, be sure to check out my video on the present continuous that I mentioned before. All right, students, we're done for today. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to check out my playlist on the English verb tenses. Also, if you would like to see more videos like this in the future, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for future videos. One last thing. Can you give me an example using the past continuous? Comment down below. Thanks for watching. Mwah! Bye for now.